So van life is something that I kind of planned for a while. This wasn't something that I just jumped right into. There's a lot that you kind of have to change in your life and a lot that you have to prepare for moving into a van, especially full time. So I did a bunch of tent camping, backpacking, and then some car camping just throughout the course of my life. So I felt like I was ready for the van life side of things. I mean, I also stayed in some RVs, so I had the general idea. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. Well, maybe not exactly, but I had a close enough idea. So the way that this all kind of came about was I knew whenever I was a travel nurse that I was ready to kind of have like my own home on wheels, because every like couple of months I was moving to new furnished places. I had to accrue double expenses, so I had a home base, and then any time that I was traveling just to like see some sights in the area that I was staying in, I would have to get like a hotel or like an Airbnb if it was too far away from where I was living while I was on contract. So it was like maintaining like 3 of those costs, it was too much. And then in between like the contracts, depending on where I was working, I would need different outdoor gear. I would need a different like set of like clothes depending on the climate. And it was kind of frustrating sometimes having to go back to my home base, load up the car, and then take it back out. So all of that kind of reminded me of like how my program is set up. As in that, like in my senior year, that 3rd year, I'll be moving around sometimes like every 6 weeks. I just thought to myself, I was like, I do not want to like lug some of my stuff around all over again. And that really like put the idea of van life in my head during school, because I knew I wanted to do van life at some point, but it's maybe a little crazy to do while in such a rigorous graduate program. But we're here now. So I did want to buy just like a shell of a van and then actually outfit it all myself. However, that was not possible for me during grad school. I did not have enough time. I didn't have the resources to put it all together because my home base is not where I'm going to school. So it was just too much. I ended up finding Storyteller Overland, and they pretty much had the build that I would have wanted to build myself. I just had to, make changes here and there just with like some of the storage options. I put some racks on the outside, and then I'm looking at the van right now, so I'm thinking about what I did. And I put some attachments onto the racks up top, and then I also put like a shelf and like a curtain rod inside of the van. So it was like small things. And that was kind of possible to do during school, and I don't know, I tried finding somebody else who had done something like this during CRNA school, and I think I only stumbled on like a podcast, or I think that was it. So this was kind of like my idea. I was like, all right, let's do this, let's see if it's possible. And so I watched hundreds of van life videos just to get an idea. I went to like a bunch of RV shows. I pretty much talked to anybody that I could just to kind of get some tips and tricks. And I did all of this actually before school, because if I was doing the research during school, there's no way I would have passed school while getting a van together and sort of researching all of that. So yeah, so far Storyteller has been this like perfect blend of rugged and practical for me.